Good morning. Welcome back to KSNT News here on your Wednesday. This morning we have the Shawnee County District Attorney Mike Kagay joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Brittany.
Well, thank you for being here. Now, the preliminary hearing for the Dwane Simmons murder case, that was earlier on in the month with Francisco Mendez. You did add on further charges for Mendez at the preliminary hearing there. Give us the latest on what those charges involve and where this case is now moving forward towards.
Yeah, we did add charges based on the evidence that was presented at that hearing. I handled that case along with my Chief of Staff, Charles Kitt, and we had additional football players testify in addition to Mr. Ballantyne. And it turns out, based on their testimony, we certainly had enough to add attempted murder charges, listing 3 of them as additional victims in that case. So what happens now is preliminary hearing is just a probable cause hearing, so the court determines that we have enough to go to trial. And so that's the next step. You know, we'll have a pretrial setting, and then we'll go to a jury trial phase.
Okay, and of course we've been in close contact with authorities. Could there be any additional arrests in this case? I know the investigation is still ongoing.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, their testimony, based on the preliminary hearing, it's clear that there are other people in the vehicle. The question is, how can I prove who was in the vehicle? So that's what we're trying to shore up. That's what we're trying to get to that point where we can make a charging decision, have those folks arrested, and then move forward and prosecute them as well. Certainly I've told the families I'm not going to stop, and law enforcement is not going to stop their investigation until everyone who had a hand in this terrible crime is held accountable.
Okay. We are being told that you need more office space. We want to know, is your department expanding? What's going on with that situation? You
know, not so much expanding. This is kind of an ongoing need. When I first took over the DA's office, we had actually been paying for a lease off-site that was not county property, and that caused me some concern, because why are we spending taxpayer dollars when we have space available here in the county? Why are we spending taxpayer dollars for a lease, you know, off-site? And so I got us out of that lease as soon as I could. The problem is we're kind of stacked on top of each other in a couple places, so it's something I'm working on with the county commissioners, and I have their assurances that I'm going to get some relief for that issue by the end of the year.
Okay, reorganizing things around downtown area, I'm sure. Now, I know you want to talk about this specifically. September is a big awareness month for several things. Suicide Prevention Month, of course, as well as Baby Safety Month, 2 very important causes that are near and dear to you and your department.
Right. Well, specifically with suicide prevention, what I will say is that our office handles involuntary commitments, and that can be something that could save a life. And we've seen that happen before. There's specific criteria that has to be involved. Someone has to have a mental illness, and they have to be a threat to themselves or others. Obviously, if they're telling someone that they care about that they want to kill themselves, they are a threat to themselves. The way that people can act on that, they can call law enforcement and ask for a CIT team, or they can take the person that they care about to Vallejo and have them screened by a mental health professional, and they can contact our office and we can help them with that. As far as the baby safety stuff goes, I can tell you, unfortunately, I have seen too many cases where people just lack the basic parenting skills to properly care for an infant. And it's not usually mom, it's usually dad or mom's boyfriend, and they get frustrated because the baby's crying and they don't know what to do, and they end up hurting the baby, which is not a solution. You know, it's going to get them a serious felony and prison time. You know, you can just do some basic research, you know, take care of the baby. We've had 5 in our home, so I can tell you usually a baby is either hungry, they're tired, or maybe they're scared. And if you can address one of those concerns, certainly you can help them. But leaving them in an unsafe situation or certainly physically abusing them is never the answer.
Okay. Well, 2 very important awareness topics here in September that we all do need to be aware of. Thank you so much for being here this morning, keeping us updated.